London's mayor elections are coming up soon, with Sadiq Khan running for a second term as Labour candidate against Conservative Shaun Bailey. Who will win? Sadiq Khan, the existing mayor of London, will go head-to-head with other candidates on May 6, 2021, for the mayorship of London and the coveted City Hall seat. Representing Labour, Mr. Khan is fighting for a second term. The Conservative candidate, Shaun Bailey, is running for the first time alongside Renew's Ham Balayev, the Green Party's Shaun Bailey, the Reclaim Party's celebrity candidate Lawrence Fox, UKIP running man Peter Gammons and a series of independent candidates. Londoners can vote in the upcoming elections either in person or via postal ballot. An election poll by Opinium based on an online survey by 1,093 Londoners aged 18 and over, suggests crime in the city is the most important issue for them. In terms of which candidate has the best approach, Mr. Khan has a lead in this area with 32% against Mr. Bailey's 23%. The next top issue for people in London is healthcare and the NHS, 40% of which said this was a priority for them. Mr. Khan, again, has the lead over Mr. Bailey in this area with 36% and 18%, respectively. Who will win? As it stands, it's still looking like Mr. Khan is going to scoop a victory in this year's election. However, even though he's polling well above Mr. Bailey, the current mayor's approval rating isn't as high as some may expect. Mr. Khan's net approval rating is actually shrinking. The same Opinium poll suggests that despite his large lead, the mayor's approval is actually low. 2 in 5 41% approve of how he is handling his job as Mayor of London, compared to 34% who disapprove. Mr. Khan's approval rating has noticeably dropped since the Opinium's last poll when 47% approved of his term as mayor compared to 31% disapproval. This latest survey also found 1/5, equating to 19% of Labour Party voters, disapprove of Mr. Khan's performance. Senior research manager in the polling team at Opinium, James Crouch said, "There is nothing in our latest poll which casts doubt on the most likely outcome of the election next month. Even if it's touch and go whether Mr. Khan will get over 50% on first preference votes, he still has a clear lead over the Conservative candidate." Some might be unsettled at the drop in his approval rating over the last few weeks, but it has not seriously dented his chances of re-election. Mr. Crouch said Mr. Khan's dipped approval rating was likely down to crime now being perceived to be the most important issue in the capital, replacing health and the NHS. He added, nevertheless, while Shaun Bailey remains behind Mr. Khan on every issue including crime, it's almost impossible to see a successful route to the mayoralty for the Conservatives. Mr. Khan's path to success is also likely helped by the fact his main opponent just doesn't live up to the mark. Mr. Bailey has been criticized on numerous occasions for blatant sexism and misogyny, most recently for making degrading comments in a pamphlet about women, in which he claimed young girls in London offer sexual favors in return for drugs. The Labour Party accused Mr. Bailey of the worst kind of casual sexism and misogyny, after unearthing a newspaper interview in which he praised discipline of his teachers because they were men then. Speaking in favor of school discipline, Mr. Bailey said, "When I was a kid, there was none of this PC nonsense. If you were wrong, they told you so. The teachers were men then." Elsewhere in the 2007 Sunday Times interview, Mr. Bailey said, "Our teachers were men and we looked up to them. It was not a democracy. In today's drive for children's rights, we've forgotten to give them responsibility." Quote,